Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Malicious Compliance. In today's episode, can't work on your laptop without my name badge? Guess it wasn't that critical. My work hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., no exceptions? You got it. Fired. In 2 weeks. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Can't work on your laptop without my name badge? Guess it wasn't that critical. I worked for a university IT department as a student worker for a little over 4 years. We had a sister department, the Media Center, who loaned out laptops, projectors, and other technology to professors as needed. In my 4th year in employment, I was on a first-name basis with nearly all the employees of the university, including the head of the Media Center. We'll call her Karen, because obviously. Karen was the queen of her kingdom and had quite a few obnoxious rules in place, but most importantly was an ironclad employee ID policy for checking out laptops. Under normal circumstances, I completely agree with this policy, however, this wasn't a normal circumstance. Got a call from her at 4:40 on a Friday, we closed at 5, that a laptop she was trying to loan out to a very important professor wasn't able to log into the network, and she requested we come look at it. Sure thing. I make the 10-minute walk across campus from our office to the Media Center with my toolkit. When I get there, I see the professor and Karen and ask to see the laptop. She says, "Wait, Saucer, you need your name badge." "Where is it?" Flash to my name badge, clipped to my jacket, hanging on a coat rack in the ITS office. "Ah, it's on my jacket, Karen. I forgot to grab it rushing over here." I chuckled a bit. Deadpan, she says, "Saucer, you can't work on this until you go get your badge." "Karen, I thought this was an emergency. Do you need me to fix this right now?" "Yes, of course," Karen explained, "but we still need to always follow policy." Fair enough. Policy is incredibly important. I'll go get my name badge. I left the office, trekked the 10 minutes back to my office. Then I picked up the phone and called her. "Hey Karen, just letting you know that because it's 5:20 and policy states student workers can't work after hours, I'll have to come back Monday. Have a great weekend." She fumed at me for a few minutes until I essentially hung up on her. Policy is very important. Edit, adding this from my comment below what happened on Monday? My boss did not like Karen at all. He was an amazing guy in general, late 50s, survived cancer, has MS, but still ran security at biker rallies. He'd been with the university for about 30 years and had 8 weeks PTO. So he would take months off and ride around the country with his equally amazing wife. This was in 2005 and he set the standard for what I would consider a good boss. So he came in Monday morning to a bunch of voicemails from her about it, yells over to me, "Saucer, did you leave Karen hanging on Friday?" Yeah, Chuck, his real name, because he's amazing, forgot my name badge. Yeah, you are pretty forgetful sometimes. He shrugged and that was that. Karen had to loan her individual work laptop to the professor for the week. For the curious, the problem was that in Windows XP days, when logging in, Windows would attempt to connect to every saved wireless network top to bottom. Because this was a loaner, and there were literally hundreds of hotel, airport, and restaurant Wi-Fi, it was taking 8 or 9 minutes for the logon prompt to come up. It took me around 30 seconds to clear out all the saved Wi-Fi connections and return the laptop to them. Karen was not in the office when I went to work on it Monday morning. Edit 2. I 100% was in the wrong here, because I forgot my name badge. I didn't flout the name badge policy on purpose, it was a mistake. Anyone familiar with the Midwest will confirm that sometimes it's bitter cold in the morning, but by late afternoon it's warm enough you don't need a jacket. During my morning tickets, I was wearing a jacket and had my name badge on it. Over lunch, I took my jacket off and didn't need it. It was a mistake, and Karen decided that the badge policy was too important for her to overlook my mistake. Which is definitely her prerogative. And it's mine to overlook the student workers cannot be paid overtime rule. The laptop was fixed within 45 business minutes of her reporting the problem to our office, which in my opinion is relatively fast. Name badges and security policies are important. And I could understand her not wanting to let me check out the laptop as if I was a faculty member using their services. But I was an employee working late on a Friday even though I wouldn't be done in time, so we both could take care of that professor. I wasn't taking the laptop home, I was working on it in front of her. Additionally, it was her department's policy that she wouldn't let people handle laptops without signing them out, but not ours. Our department had no official name badge policy. Edit 3. Well, there are a lot of assumptions going on. Guys, this was 2005. The purpose of the name badge was so when they wrote down who has the laptop, they could write down who had the laptop. But I wasn't taking the laptop anywhere. In no other department and in no other course of our job was our ID required, and at no point in any other part of our jobs did we have to sign for equipment. It was literally this one woman's department. My work hours are 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., no exceptions? You got it. So, I work in the entertainment sector in an office setting. Sometimes the work around here slows when we get ahead of projects. Some of us live 45 minutes to an hour away from the shop, so we would come in a few minutes late and maybe leave 5 to 10 minutes early to get a start of the traffic / not watch the clock. There's times when you come to a checkpoint in your work and it wouldn't make sense to start up the next part since you leave in 10 minutes. The vice president of the company said if we keep doing this we will be written up. That we are to be at our desks at 8:30 a.m. and to not leave until 5 p.m. All of us would answer calls and respond to work emails past 5. Myself, I would return calls and emails until 7 p.m. on the weekdays and monitor my email over the weekend. Once the VP shifted to such rigid stance on work hours, we did as well. Now, my email notifications are muted from 5:01 to 8:30. And completely turned off on the weekends. I showed my coworkers how to do the same thing via their Outlook. Now, we all leave at 5 but refuse to do any work outside our scheduled hours. The VP is famous for sending emails and texts after work hours and has become frustrated that he doesn't hear back until the next day or maybe even the following Monday. Absolutely burns him up. He said we should be monitoring our emails after work in case of an emergency. I simply said what he said. My work hours are from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Nothing more, nothing less. So over 15 minutes of work presence he has lost all outside work hour support. Everyone refuses to answer emails after 5 or on the weekends. He hates it but still hasn't budged. Just keeps saying how we need to be more company focused. I was. Until you decided me leaving 10 minutes early was an issue and I decided that I would follow his example. 8:30 to 5. You get what you wish for. Fired. In 2 weeks. I worked for 5 years as a federal contractor and eventually rose through the ranks through blood, sweat, and tears to a low-level supervisor. I managed a team of 13 working 2 federal contracts. Both contracts were new, and I was supposed to make them successful so the contracts would be renewed. This started right before COVID. Even before the poop hit the fan, my second contract was going badly. The agency flooded us with work, and my boss repeatedly refused to ask them to slow it down. That was literally his only job. As a result, late work began piling up and costing the company lots of money. We did our best to keep up, which in reality meant a ton of unpaid overtime for me. Then COVID hit, and things only got worse. My staff asked almost daily if there would be layoffs, and my boss' response to them was, "We don't know." To me, the answer was that my job was secure but the others weren't. If the contract failed, he said, I'd have a place on another team. Obviously, the contract failed. My boss personally fired me, and, unbeknownst to me, most of my team. I learned who was staying and who was going by talking with each of them personally. No one knew it was going to happen to them until it happened, and they were all shocked that I'd been fired as well. This was August 2020. Panic ensued. After firing me, my boss, who until that day I considered a very good friend, had the stones to call and ask me if I'd help him end the contract on a high note. I got fired 2 weeks before my official last day, because that company is run by sadists. I told him I'd do my job. As a proud Slytherin, I immediately began doing everything I could, within the rules of course, to send my fired staff home in the best shape possible. We all knew our unused PTO would cash out, but sick time wouldn't. Everyone was sick those last 2 weeks, and my boss ended up doing most of the work himself. I also sent a ton of people to work from home with COVID-like symptoms so they could use their time to interview for jobs, etc. I was immediately hired by another federal contractor, and I brought my best former employee along with me. Since then, she and I poached about a dozen employees away from our former employer, who eventually threatened to sue her if she headhunted anyone else. I'm proud to say that our revenge-fueled efforts have taken so many of their good employees that the company is now openly failing and will soon go out of business. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.